Hello, fellow gamers. It's your boy, Patrick King Minion Demon. Today we're going to talk about why minions cannot be alt-right. I remember this question literally about last year, whenever I went to Raj of the Garage, and a fellow friend in the audience asked me, can minions be alt-right? I don't think they can be. I still stick to it. And I'm just gonna sit down and explain to you why I think minions can't be alt-right. Because you gotta figure out what alt-right is. And even though it's an ideology, it's also a boogeyman meme pushed by mainstream media, the legacy media, however you call it. It's also pushed by outrage cancel culture. But in the end, it's a term that's used negatively to cause ideological, psychological, and just racial division. It's like the alt-right's considered to be white supremacy, white nationalist, even though nationalism and supremacy are two very different things, but people don't want to talk about that. They just want to listen to what they're told. The term alt-right's also an attempt to bring light to the Great Replacement and the Caligari Plan, which are both two conspiracy theories that involve the genocide of white people. Banana. If you take the term outrage culture and the mainstream media, which are two strong parts of society that influences a lot of people, whether it's on TV or the internet, you take into consideration what they created and what they give the audience about the concept of alt-right, even though a lot of it's just false narratives and false agendas. But they want to keep that audience and they'll push it. However, if you're someone who thinks differently and actually isn't a sheep, you'll actually look into the concept of alt-right, research it, offer analytical counter against their claims, but in the end you get two scenarios. The first one will be basically in agreement to the concept of alt-right or disagreement to the concept of alt-right with the opposite party, while hearing their view and what they've been told. Maybe, just maybe, they will actually listen to what you have to say instead of just downing your throat with their opinion. But either way, an agreement or disagreement is perfectly fine in conversation, because in the end, if you keep on learning more and more about people's opinions, it shapes up who you want to associate with, maybe who you want to identify as. And then the second scenario is basically being labeled alt-right despite having your own proclaimed identity, which is considered not perfectly fine, as nobody wants to be identified as alt-right. But due to its blank statement and ignorance surrounding it, over millions of Americans actually identify as it, but they either don't realize it or they're a silent majority, which is fine. What people don't seem to understand is you're allowed to think and identify however you want. It's just gotta make sense. My idea of the alt-right and what I've gathered from it is it's basically the left ideology, but for white people, who not only vocally support and don't hate their own race or themselves, they want more rights for white people, and they want white ethnostates, along with following constitutional monarchies or republics. Banana. Which I respect and agree to an extent. I don't personally believe in giving more rights to white people, but they are a minority now, which is something a lot of people aren't grasping at the fact of, which they really should. Banana. Something the alt-right can't admit to is being the left. But the left, instead of focusing on white people, they'll just shit on white people. They'll work on more rights for the minorities and protected classes they just so talk about, despite, just wanting money from them. It also doesn't help that the groups themselves that the left defend can't even get their shit together. Like, blacks are still, like, over 50% of the crime in probably America and the world and around the world, and it's fucking annoying because I'm mixed. I'm mixed black, and I love it. I love the idea of just mixed racing. Like, it's still a controversial topic, but man, I do love me some white people. Something the left also wants you to believe is what they tell you, because you either have to listen to them or you're the enemy. And they'll do this by fear-mongering or constant projection. It's very common tactics from maybe communism? Not 100% sure. But in the end, the elites want constant division between these ideologies because if you think differently, they're the enemy. When in actuality, if someone thinks differently, they might just think differently. And they'll have proof to showcase their opinions. Whether or not you're sharing your opinions to friends or mere strangers. Something that I just wish I would like to see more is if I do post my own ideas and opinions, they won't just be constantly shat on, because I don't fucking insult people. I only insult people when they insult me. That's how equality works. And we live in a society that's very, very positive and full of equality. And I love that. I want to keep on pushing that. But unfortunately, everyone's hating white people, but not me, because I love white people. I really do. Banana. I love them so goddamn much. And I also love almost everything and everyone, almost. God bless America and other white countries that are left remaining. But you may think to yourself, throughout listening to all this rambling, is he defending an ideology? But I'm not. I'm just discussing it. And discussing it in the open and on the internet is way better than doing it at work. In the end, I'm hoping we can find the final solution. Being a carefree minion is awesome. That's one thing. But minions cannot be alt-right. That's the truth. Can't wait for my knee to get better so I can start working again. Banana.